Hello friends, I'm back again in this weekly market outlook video, and I'm sure you've appreciated the kind of work that we do and provide you with statistical inputs as to gauge the market directions, estimate where it's going. I'm using the word estimate here, and you would have seen for 24 consecutive weeks how we've basically managed to navigate through the noise of the markets fairly effectively. Friends, I'm your host Vijay Bambwani. I'm a trader with 35 years of experience, 28 of which are as a founder, promoter and CEO of a limited company which trades for a living. My objective through these videos is to meet like-minded individuals, connect with them, intellectuals, thoughtful traders who deploy cutting-edge tools to trade the market so that we can help each other stay ahead of the crowds. We are not interested in being the crowd. We are interested in beating them. So I'm very glad that many of you, after having watched my videos, have connected with me on social media, have interacted on my posts based on our statistical in-house model called the Barracuda, which is very simple, very easy to interpret signals and charts, which I put up on my social media every evening post-market. Do feel free to connect out there. Let's have conversations going. So let's dive right into the market, and as you can see on your market roundup window, I had last week shown you through the impetus chart, which was a new study I started sharing with you, that the markets would be range bound and the impetus was showing sluggishness. Sure enough, both the indices managed to kind of hold on to their gains, but just about. And the reason why the markets were basically under pressure yet not negative was because crude oil and natural gas fell. I've told you often in these videos that both are called multiplier commodities. Now, if the prices of these commodities rise, inflation in terms of food grain, cereals, pulses, milks, eggs, fruits, vegetables, everything goes up. Even the US dollar declined 0.32% as the Dixie shows you on a week-on-week basis, and all emerging nations, including India, witness equity markets either stabilize or rise when the dollar falls. So, falling oil and crude oil prices were a positive, which helped save the bulls the blushes of seeing red on their screens on a week-on-week basis. The 10-year benchmark bond yield. Now, this is again something that I've been talking for years in my previously PDF version of this report and now the video edition of this weekly market outlook. The 10-year benchmark bond yield continued to pressurize the bank Nifty because spiking bond yields means mark-to-market losses on the portfolio of banks. Now, observe how gold and silver have basically shown signs of life. Now, this is safe haven buying coming into the fore. And obviously, since the dollar declined, there was some defensive buying in precious metals. But in spite of a falling dollar, crude oil and natural gas witnessed selling pressure, which saved us. On your screen, you can see the MWPL chart, and you can see how the MWPL continues to rise on a week-on-week basis, which means that the traders are still ramping up their exposure based on hope. Now, this hope is likely to lead to higher volatility or statistical beta ahead. Coming up on your screen, friends, is the basis chart. Now, the basis measures the premium the futures enjoy over spot. Now, see how the futures premium in the Nifty may be slightly above the previous week's basis, but it has slipped on the days that the market went up last week, which is Tuesday and Wednesday. So, there was selling pressure all of last week on the Nifty futures. The Bank Nifty basis, on the other hand, indicated in the red, is telling you that even on a week-on-week basis, the futures premium has turned lower as compared to last week. The only saving grace, the basis is still in the positive and there is no inversion, which means it's not negative yet. Take a look at the impetus chart. Now, the impetus basically tells you that both the indices are witnessing deceleration in the up move. The bulls are clearly on the ropes. They are at a disadvantage, and they basically need to pull up their socks and put in humongous amount of efforts to be able to revive sentiments here. As with last week, my friends, I have a very, very critical update which I will speak about at the fag end of this video. So do make the effort of sticking around, hang in there and watch the video right till the fag end. The volumes chart on your screen tells you the cumulative volumes of March, April and May series in both the indices and the stock futures. As you will see here, that the rallies were accompanied by falling volumes, but the declines which came on Friday were with a huge spike up. Now this tells me that there was huge amount of participation on the downside, but when the markets were rising, the bulls were not really participating. Now this is something I have pointed out in the market snapshot graphic which I have started putting up on my social media pages since the last 1 month or so. I put this up end of the day, late evening, and if you connect with me, you can read. This is basic statistical analysis. A higher secondary school child will be able to understand what I'm trying to convey, and it helps you a lot in determining the next day's market outlook. So the volume's done, MWPL impetus done. We will basically see what triggered the steep decline on Friday. The inflation, which I have been warning you against, because crude and natural gas, which I have been telling you are multiplier commodities, and the dollar rising against the rupee is also inflationary, because India is a net importing nation. Whatever we import from there, especially 2/3 of our imports are fossil fuels, which are, like I said, multiplier commodities. They drive up prices of food, shelter and clothing. So both the dollar and oil and gas were rising, and this resulted in inflation rising, which I have been warning you for many months now. As soon as the news came that inflation has hit 5.03% in February, the markets nosedived because they expected the RBI to counter it with higher interest rates. Higher interest rates means higher cost of doing business, including speculation, trading, swing trading, call it what you want, and the markets simply surrendered all hope. This is something that I have been warning you about. We have been weeks ahead of the competition, the media, the social media, other analysts out there, and believe me, this is the purpose of my videos, to be far, far ahead, even if it at that point in time looks unrealistic. But we want to be ahead and maintain the edge over the others. So here again, you've been basically told through the end of the day market snapshot window, market snapshot graphic that I put up on my social media accounts, how the red flagging was constantly available throughout the truncated week last week. Shivratri being a holiday, that added to the nervousness of the markets. Now the bulls, as per the primary data we've seen so far, are clearly on the back foot. But things can revive, which is what I want to talk to you about at the fag end of the critical update about the market, the fag end of this video, why I think you need to be extra careful. Friends, the market roundup done. We now proceed towards the 10-year benchmark bond yields. Note how the yield has hit a multi-month high at 6.38%, and this is something that I have been warning you. Please ignore the armchair experts and armchair analysts who are telling you that bond yields don't matter. If you want to trade Bank Nifty, or if you want to trade banking stocks, and if you ignore the bond yields, you're going to come to serious grief. You will suffer pulverizing losses, which you will not be able to know what hit you and why, but you must know the reason why the prices are moving in financial markets. Things always happen for a reason, and the reason itself is always financial. So monitor the bond yields. And now the results of the warnings of so many weeks are right in front of you. In spite of all the trolling that I have received, I welcome your trolling, your feedback. Send it what you want. I'm still patiently hearing you guys out, because that helps me form opinions about what the retail is actually thinking. So you're actually doing me a favor even by trolling me. So here it is, that the rising yields might just put the bulls to fresh challenge. And will yields rise higher? I think so. I think the yields might just go higher, which means elevated sense of challenge for the markets. And the cost of funds, which means the cost of doing business, will go up. Now, as I mentioned to you last week, since this is March ending, the critical aspect to watch out for is the interbank call money rate. If these start rising, I would be very, very suspicious of any market up moves. I would be cautious out there, because if interbank call rates are rising, that means there's a shortage of money between the buying and lending process in the bank. I don't suspect they will, but if they do, I would be extremely careful. Now, this is again something that the rank and file retail trader does not even know about. We don't want to be just retail traders. I want to meet with intelligent, like-minded, thoughtful, intellectual traders who deploy advanced tools in the market, and that's what my videos are all about. So be extremely wary of the fortnight ahead, and at the end of the video, I'll tell you why the fortnight ahead. Friends, the 10-year benchmark bond yield done. We now go to the Dixie, the US dollar index against the global basket of currency. Now this US dollar index fell 0.32% on a week-on-week basis. Now this was one reason why the bulls were not basically sent home blushing, and they managed to hold on to very small gains on the headline indices, the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, on a week-on-week basis. But do note that the price still remains on the daily chart above the 25-day exponential moving average, and it has closed above the 91.5 level, which I had advocated last week. If the dollar index is staying above 91.5 for most part of the week ahead, I think the bulls might just get energized, and all emerging markets, including India, may just feel the heat. The daily chart shows a small resistance in the vicinity of 92.55 or 92.60, and should the bulls manage to overcome this hurdle, they will regain their advantage all over again. Check out the weekly chart on your screen right now. The last candle is an inverted bearish hammer, which means the bulls made an abortive attempt. Abortive means failed attempt to pull the prices higher. The price has closed mildly below the 25-week exponential moving average, and therefore we need to clear the 92.55 or 92.60 hurdle to give a clear bullish view on the Dixie. Now, the last week I advocated an estimated range of 93.15 on the upside and 90.80 on the downside, which held perfectly well. The next week's estimated range, I stress upon the word estimated, is between 92.85 on the upside and 90.5 on the downside. Now, the Dixie is a critical piece of the jigsaw puzzle for a savvy trader. Please do not take leave and ignore the Dixie. If you do so, you're doing it at your own peril. Leave out the rank and file guys out there. Don't listen to the noise which is present in the markets, and stick to the studies on hand. Friends, the Dixie done now. Let's move to the Bank Nifty, the second most liquid, second lowest impact cost traded item or script out there. It took a hit from the 10-year benchmark bond yields because, like I mentioned, the Bank Nifty is what takes a direct hit when mark-to-market losses occur on the bank bond holdings. But on the other hand, it got saved by the falling US dollar, falling oil and gas prices, which is why it closed with small gains. It's clearly unable to overcome the previous swing highs, as you can see on your chart, and the price is precariously poised at a trendline support, the 25-day exponential moving average, and the round number of 35,000. Any breach of this mark can weaken the sentiments, especially if the price closes below this mark for a couple of trading sessions. Now watch this level continuously. The immediate support is at the previous swing low of 26th of February, which is at 34,658 levels in the spot, which must be defended by the bulls if they are serious in continuing the rally and extend it. On the flip side, if you want to go long, don't even think about going long even for an intraday basis unless the price breaks out above the intraday high of 3rd March, which was at 36,455 levels, which is not just intraday but on a closing basis. It must close above 36,455 in spot before you take a fresh intraday long position. Swing and delivery based long positions will be taken even higher levels. Now the first impression I get from this chart is that the peaks or the highs are getting progressively lower and the lows are holding on for now, which means the range is contracting and the price is getting compressed like a ballpoint spring. The more you coil the spring and compress it, the more it is ready to basically jump out in either direction. Now we'll trade in the direction of the breakout, of course, but right now the price is coiling for bigger price action and we'll wait for the price to tell us where it wants to go. And the weekly chart coming up on your screen shows an inverted hammer, which again shows an abortive attempt by the bulls, just like the Dixie, to pull the price higher. Note how the range here is contracting. Each candle is getting progressively shorter than the previous candle, which means the market is coiling for a big move in either direction. So I think this calls for higher volatility or statistical beta. I don't believe in the VIX as much as I believe in statistical beta because it's purer from a mathematical pure price point of view. So I expect statistical beta or volatility to jump high, which is why you should continue to trade on extremely light volumes. Now the week before last, this index was number 2 of the most volatile list, but it fell 2 notches to number 4. Not because the index volatility has gone down, but because the individual stock futures volatility has gone up. And you must continue to exercise caution even in the coming week, even though the volatility appears, I'm using the word appears, lower. Last week, I advocated an estimated range between 37,150 on the downside and 33,300 on the upside, which held perfectly well. In the coming week, I expect the estimated, I'm using on the stressing on the word estimated, range between 37,350 on the upside and 33,625 on the downside. Friends, the Bank Nifty done. Let's now go to the Nifty 50, the most liquid and the low cost impact instrument found on the NSE derivative segment. And it marginally gained last week, and we discussed the reasons why: the lower oil and gas prices, a low US dollar, and oil and gas being multiplier commodities. This gave us some kind of a cushion on the declines. So, like the Bank Nifty, this index too was unable to overcome its previous swing high. And similarly, also, it is precariously poised, as you can see on your chart, at the 25-day exponential moving average. Both indices saw very prominent bearish candles on Friday, which erased most of the gains that the indexes made in the previous 2 trading sessions. The other thing I noticed on my trading terminal screen was that stocks which have a very high correlation coefficient or CORCOF with the headline indices violated a lot of short-term support levels out there. Now, if you're a statistically minded trader and you're deploying any kind of trading models or trading systems into your decision-making support systems, the Korkoff study is extremely critical in the remaining 2 weeks of March. Focus on those stocks which have a very high Korkoff reading with the headline indices. So this is a factor that I'm watching in the coming week. The 15,300 level is an immediate test for the intraday bulls. So if you want to go long, even for an intraday basis, for an hour or 2 hours, do not do so unless the Nifty closes above the 15,300 level. I'm using the word closing, not intraday. So on a relative comparative basis, the Nifty chart is mildly stronger than the Bank Nifty, but that event can change anytime depending on bond markets, oil and gas prices outlook, and maybe even some news. The Bank Nifty, of course, remains relatively more volatile as compared to the Nifty 50, which is what gives Nifty its edge. The swing low made on the Nifty at 14,862 on 5th of March is an immediate support to watch. A sustained closing below this level and the bears may get more aggressive. Here again, the next support on the Nifty is at 14,467, which is a low of 26th of February, And conversely, on the flip side, the peak of 15,432 achieved on 16th of February, which has still not been overcome, is an interesting level to watch out for. If this is overcome on the upside, I think the bulls are back. Now let's take a look at the weekly chart here. It shows an inverted hammer just like the Bank Nifty and the Dixie. And here again the weekly ranges are contracting. It's like a spring which is being pushed and compressed, and the momentum is getting built up like a coil. Now which direction will it break out? Let the price tell us where it wants to go before we follow suit in that direction. And in the week before last, this index was number 8 on the most volatile list. No change in the last week either. Last week I advocated a range between 15,525 on the upside and 14,350 on the downside, which held perfectly well. The coming week is likely to see an estimated, I stress upon the word estimated here, a range of 15,600 on the upside and 14,440 on the downside. You must continue to trade light, my friends, because of the volatility factor that I have been stressing about. Now, the indices done, I come to the most popular segment of this video, wherein I give you 5 stocks which are suitable for high beta, high impetus traders who take small exposure, wait for large price moves to make their money. Now, the high beta, high impetus stocks are led by number 1, Tech Mahindra, number 2, Muthoot Finance, number 3, Petronet LNG, number 4, Vodafone Idea, number 5, SBI Life. Now, the 5 low beta, low impetus stocks where you take large amount of exposure, wait for small price moves, are led by Tata Chem at number 1, number 2, Coal India, number 3, Marico Industries, number 4, NTPC, and number 5, L&T Finance. Now here, please remember, volatility changes from day to day, and so the hierarchy of these high-low beta stocks can also change. Do connect with me on social media, wherein I update these aspects on a day-to-day basis, end of the day, and update yourself with what's happening out there in the market. Now friends, for the critical update that I promised you in the beginning of this video, the coming 2 remaining weeks, which are of the last financial month of this financial year, FY 2020-21, this month is typically very volatile for the simple reason that the retail guys are kind of winding up their financial year reversing their entries, paying back their loans, and therefore they are not as focused on the market as they are in other times of the year. On the other hand, the biggest players of them all, the Goliaths of the market, the mutual funds, are interested in propping up or boosting the NAVs of their portfolios. So they constantly buy shares to push up prices. So there's a pull and push in the market. The retail may be offloading or staying away from the market, and the institutional guys are pulling up the markets because they want their NAV to be reported higher, so volatility tends to go up. So please, for your sake, for maintaining your sanity in the market in the coming 2 fortnights till March end is done and dusted, trade on very small volumes. Stick to your stop losses, enforce your stop losses, don't break them. And as far as the Jensen's measure is concerned, I share with you this statistical tool which is used by all hedge fund managers worth their salt. The Jensen's measure continues to remain hostile to fresh leverage long positions. So let's not get aggressive in our trades, at least in the leverage segment on either side, long and short. Continue to trade light because the stock odds are stacked against aggressive traders. Friends, if you like this video, if you agree with what I said, do subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. Click on the bell icon, receive instant alerts about fresh content being put up here, and keep the lines of communication going through the comment section. Help me reach out a wider number of people, fellow like-minded, intellectually minded traders by sharing this video with your family and friends. Have a very, very profitable day ahead. Profitable week ahead, profitable trade ahead. This is Vijay Bambwani signing off from this video. Thank you for watching me. Take care. Bye-bye.